Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Auntie, where we have real talk about real life situations. I am your host, Tanya Lynne. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the real, the raw, and the unapologetic with Auntie. Make sure my lip gloss is popping. My lip gloss is popping, y'all. My lip gloss is cool. Listen, everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Auntie. I am Tanya Lynne, and I am your favorite auntie. Right now, I want to just shout out my little man, Honor, because Honor needs a kidney. Honor was born with a congenital kidney disorder. There's no treatment or cure for this other than a kidney transplant. Unfortunately, after multiple surgeries, it has taken a toll on Honor's body. His kidney function has declined. So we're looking for matches. If you would like to support the family, if you would like to send words of encouragement, if you would like to bless Honor with a gift, if you would like to be tested to see if you are a match for Honor, please call his mother, Angel. Her name is Angel, ANJYL, at 216 502 6049. 216 502 6049 to receive more information on being tested to become a donor for Honor or to just be a blessing to the family, because you know we're only blessed to be a blessing. Thank you, guys. And then make sure you share the information. Also, I want to shout out, first of all, let me introduce you to my guest. This is my girl, Christy. We used to work together many kind of few years ago, before she was even a mommy. Now she's a mommy of 3. And she is a fellow MS warrior like I am. And so she is our guest today. But before we get into the conversation, girl, I need to tell you about this restaurant I went to the other day. Eleanor's Cafe. Oh, my goodness. I had a catfish dinner. The catfish was crispy on the outside. It was flaky on the inside.
That's some good catfish.
It is. I'm waiting for the flyer to come up for him so you guys can get the information. I think the phone number might be on it, but I can tell you the phone number if you guys want to call. But it's on 10509 St. Clair Avenue. Can you post a flyer? Okay. 10509 St. Clair Avenue, Cleveland. It's right behind the East Side Market, where Popeyes used to be, right on that corner.
Right on the corner.
Right on the corner of that plaza. Well, it's been there a while, but we call it the new plaza because the other plaza has a Subway and all that in it. But this is Eleanor's Cafe, culinary excellence. They have not told a fib on that. The number is 216-417-8843. They're closed on Mondays. They're open Tuesdays through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Sundays, guys, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I absolutely love that place. They're friendly, they're kind, they're courteous. Their food is good. The peach cobbler, girl, is slamming. It's slamming. Their apple pudding is sick. Oh my goodness, it is phenomenally delicious. You got to check it out. They have they serve breakfast any time of the day. Like, it's not like you just got to come. Yes.
Okay.
And so they have an extensive breakfast menu and an extensive dinner menu, and I absolutely love them.
Okay.
And it's Black owned. That's what I love. And it's in honor of his mother, who is Eleanor. Who was Eleanor. She's deceased. So, yep, okay. Eleanor's Cafe.
That'd be great.
10509 St. Clair Avenue. We will we have technical difficulties, but we will be posting the flyer for you guys momentarily. I am going to go on my page. I am getting ready to share the podcast right now. So those that are watching, those that are tuned in to watch can actually view it on my page. And there we go. It is shared. So, Christy, we are multiple sclerosis warriors.
Yes,
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. And to think that we started out in little cubicles at Bank of America, working together and keeping each other entertained throughout the day.
And encouraging
everybody.
Yes.
And even encouraging other people. And to know that our paths will cross again just with this
Isn't that
invisible disease that
Yes.
affects so many Black women.
It affects so many Black
So
women.
many.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
I want to also mention, and we are not going to show her on camera, but Christy's oldest child, Autumn, is here to give us both support.
Yes.
She is beautiful. She's a little shy. And so she's looking at me like, no, Auntie, don't put me on the camera. We're not going to put you on the camera. I gave her my word I wouldn't. Yeah. And when she wants to talk, she can always chime in.
And she truly is a wonderful soul. And she's beautiful. And as I told her, she is the remixed version of myself and her dad. And I appreciate her, even though I know she's camera shy and doesn't like to be on the front line. But having her presence here next to me means more than anything.
Oh, she's strong. Because, I mean, when I came in and I was like, so what do you do? How do you support your mom? You know, when she's going through a flare up, what do you do? She said, I just try to do whatever I can do. Yeah. You know, like it's just if I just take care of my brothers, I try to do something.
She does.
You know,
she really does. And
because people forget. Yes,
it's hard. They forget.
Because a lot of women that have it have younger children.
Yes.
They have to look over smiling. Yes. They have younger children, and it's not easy for children to navigate through their life. And then, oh my goodness, this is my parent.
This is my parent, and you know, as moms, you know, mom takes on the title of everything. You're the teacher, you're the doctor, you're the lawyer, you're the referee, you're the enforcer. You're the one that's going to hold them and pick them up. You're the one that's going to make them laugh. Like I always say, having a weird mom builds character. So, you know, I might
Janae knows all about that.
Right. You know, so it's hard. And like I was saying earlier, you know, with having MS, I didn't know that I had MS. My MS was in remission for over 20 plus years.
I was going to say, how far can you? Because I can go back that far too.
Yeah.
And we were just called clumsy.
Yes, clumsy.
Oh, you're forgetful, you're clumsy.
My mom pegged me as the clumsy kid.
Yeah.
The kid that fell over everything. Everything. I remember one time I walked into the door because my mom is notorious for rugs all through the house. And I walked into the door and I hit my toe. And she's like, how did you do that? She's like, well, I'm not about to take you to the hospital right now, so put a popsicle on it, and I'll take you in a couple of hours.
Put a popsicle on it. Baby, listen.
I was like, okay. But like you said, people just equate you to being clumsy. They don't think about it. And for me, I had been clumsy all my life.
All my life.
All my life. All my life. And so you don't know what you're living with, and you don't really know how strong your body is.
Right.
I think that's one testament. You don't realize how strong
your body is.
Your body is.
Because with multiple sclerosis, what people don't understand, it's a disease that they say disconnects, because it will disconnect. And that's because when the myelin sheath disconnects from covering our nerves and protecting us, then we start misfiring. That's when we start stuttering. That's when I'm saying, there's the chair, but I'm saying, where's the horse at?
Right.
You know?
Right. Or you find yourself repeating things.
Yep.
Like I was
memory loss.
Repeating things, but I didn't understand why I was repeating things. But like you said, it's because of that disconnect that was happening. And you know, you think, oh, I'm just forgetting. Like you said, you're forgetting things.
Or I'm tired. I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
And then the chronic fatigue.
Yes.
I can never get enough sleep. I can never get enough rest. Why do I go to sleep at 6 at night, wake up at 10 in the morning, and I'm still drained? I'm still exhausted. And people say, oh, you're not rested. I am resting.
I'm resting.
And let me tell you something to some of you who don't understand. When your friends say they're fatigued, well, I'm real tired too. Your tired will never be able to compare to what chronic fatigue is. Every single day, we wake up we feel we're tired, beyond tired.
Yes.
It feels like we have everything in our wardrobe on us, plus 300 pounds on us, in the hottest day of the world, climbing up Mount Everest.
Yes, that's
what chronic fatigue feels like. And you just want to just like, and it hits without warning. Because I'll tell people, oh, I'll come, but then they stopped inviting me because I can't come, because by the time I almost get finished dressing, I have no energy. Taking clothes off, climbing back in bed.
Yes. And I can remember even as a teenager, I was just exhausted. And at first they was like, oh, she has mono. And then they were like, no, she doesn't have mono. Then they diagnosed me with chronic fatigue syndrome at about 17 years old. They never did a CT scan. They never did an MRI. But those were my first warning signs that something was wrong. And they just kind of like dismissed it. Like, oh, she's a tired teenager. She's going
and
through
with
something.
females and African American females, statistics show we get lackadaisical medical care.
Yes,
we get dismissed quickly.
Yes,
we could walk in with an eye in our hand and say my eye fell out,
and
they're
like, gonna say pop it back, pop it back in.
Well, it looks fine to me in your hand. Don't you want to carry it around for the rest of your life?
I don't want to carry it around. And it's so funny because when I started to think back before the diagnosis, even in being pregnant, even with Autumn, I had a wonderful pregnancy with Autumn. But the last 3 months, I realized that something was off. Like I started to, they said I had preeclampsia. I had the stages of preeclampsia. So I started to swell. And then I was like, I just don't feel right. I just don't feel right. And when getting the epidural, for some reason, every time they tried, they couldn't get in. And then when they finally got lesions, they didn't realize. So when they finally got in, I felt like I had a lightning bolt go straight up my back.
Wow.
And they were like, oh, that's normal. And I'm thinking like, no, that's not normal, but okay, whatever.
Right.
So,
not normal at all.
Not normal. But she was born. She was healthy, beautiful little girl, 6 pounds, 1 ounce, tiny little bundle of joy. And so then I ended up having my middle son. And again, another sign of there was something wrong. When they gave me the epidural, it settled only on one side of my body.
Wow.
So one side of my body was numb.
And the other side was fully woke.
The other side was fully woke. And I always tease because I always say Christopher has a big melon head. And I was like, that head has been that size since birth.
Wow.
That boy's head's been that size since birth. Because he do got a big old head. I love him. He's a handsome little boy. But he's got a big head. And so they couldn't figure out why the epidural only settled on one side of my...
Because it's either going to settle or it's not.
It's not.
Because my niece, hers didn't. She doesn't have MS.
Okay.
But when she had an epidural, hers did not. And the fluid got in, and she had the worst headache in the world. Because it did. So you're either going to, it's either going to work or it's not.
It's not going to work.
How do you split your body in half and it only goes on one side?
And that was a sign.
Wow. Right there that there was something blocking.
There was something wrong and there was something blocking it. So.
And yet no further test follow-up was done to see.
Never follow up, nothing. And so, life happens and, and things transitioned in my life with family and husbands and all of that. And then, through the miracle of tying your tubes.
Wow.
Yeah, tying your tubes. After wonderful Christopher did that, and God said, no, you're meant to bring in another one.
Wow. After tying the tubes.
After. And so I ended up having my last child. And I remember with him, I was like, oh, okay, this will be great. I already know what's going to happen. Heart rate dropped.
Wow.
And we had made it to the hospital. We had got the kids dressed. Dropped. My mom came to the hospital. She's like, oh, no, this baby.
Autumn's like, yep. You remember that, Autumn?
She was like, oh, no. This baby number 3, you know what to do. Call me when he get here.
Right. Mama's so freaking cool. She's like, so cool.
Call me when he get here.
She's sharp.
It's like, I'm not going to go through that experience again. And so.
Autumn's like, we sure did.
We get into the room and everything. And they were like, okay, all right. Because he was a long baby. Oh. He was a.
Is he tall now?
He's tall now for a 6-year-old. He's about as tall as his brother. He's
just
tall. And so he was 20 inches long. And I'm only 5'3".
Right,
so I'm a little person with this big person.
Right.
So, they tell you got to bend over. So I really couldn't position right.
Right.
And they kept saying, oh, I don't know if we can get it in. And they kept trying to stick it in.
And the epidural still wasn't working.
Still wasn't working.
In the spine.
It was the lesions in the spine. And finally, they were able to find a spot. But by that time, my heart rate dropped. His heart rate dropped.
Oh, my goodness.
And they had to rush us into an emergency C-section. I got under distress. Emergency C-section. He was perfectly fine. He was, a matter of fact, he came into the world. I always say he had this nonchalant look of,
Really?
This is what you brought me into the world too. Like, oh, okay, I guess I'll be here. So had him, and it wasn't until about 4 years later. And as I tell people, I was driving with that child, my baby, in the car. We were in the car driving, and he said to me, and it was hot that day. It was one of those seasonal hot days we have here in Cleveland. And he was like, Mama, I think we need to go home. He was in the back seat. I didn't realize what was happening. I was like, yeah, I feel kind of hot. I really don't feel too good. And so he climbed out the back seat, got the front seat.
My goodness. How old was he?
He was 4.
Wow.
He never panicked. He never said anything.
Look at God.
He got up and sat in the passenger seat. He actually put his seatbelt on. I was shocked.
Wow.
And he held my hand.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, baby, I think we need to go home. Not realizing that
you were having a stroke.
I was having a stroke.
And he could see the difference in your face through the rearview mirror.
The mirror. He could see it because he always sat right behind me.
My goodness.
And so I drove. I don't remember getting home. I remember that I had to bag my car up in the driveway because of how I was facing when I got home. Mm-hmm. So I bagged my car up in the driveway. My nosy neighbor came across the street.
Thank God for that nosy neighbor.
Well, she came because she really didn't even notice I was having a stroke.
Oh.
But she was just being nosy. So she came, I was having a full-blown out stroke. She's still talking about herself. So
oh, my goodness.
But
the 4-year-old.
Before the 4-year-old knew
he knew something was right.
So finally I was like, you know what? It's hot out here and I'm really not. But I still had the ability to talk at that moment. Mm-hmm. So I go in the house and my Christopher looked at me and he said, Mommy, what's wrong with your face?
My goodness.
My Autumn came downstairs and said the same thing.
Autumn, how did you feel when you saw that?
I was on the phone. Actually, I was in my room, and I was talking to my cousin James in California.
Do you mind if we put you on camera? Mm-mm. Can we?
No.
No, we won't. We won't.
But,
keep talking.
I actually remember the whole event. I was in my room. I saw her in the window.
Uh-huh.
She came downstairs, and she sat down in the dining room table.
Okay.
I'm on the phone with my cousin in California.
Okay.
So we just having our normal
chopping it up.
Normal conversation. They're like twins.
So I come downstairs, and I see her, and I saw her face. Like, she was talking to my granny, actually.
Okay.
And I'm like, something ain't right. And so I hung up on the phone and I had started to Google it. Like, like
you're smart.
I'm like, what's happening?
Right.
Like, is she having at first I looked up mini strokes. And then I'm like, yeah, Mom, you having like a mini stroke and like we're gonna have to take you to the hospital. And then a couple minutes later, she's like over here, her whole face dropped. She couldn't even talk. Like, anymore.
Just in front, all of that transpired.
She couldn't talk anymore. And
you were calm through all of this.
I was calm.
How old was Autumn then?
It happened 2 years ago, so I was like 11. Yeah. And a couple of hours later, my grandmother had updated me on what happened. Wow. And mind you, I'm still on the phone with my cousin.
Right. Because you got to call your cousin back.
I'm like, we're just talking and everything, but I'm still worried about my mother. And I'm like, my grandmother tells me about the blood work and what they're doing on her. And again, this is all new to me. I'm not used to my mom, like, having a stroke or having these type of like meltdowns or breakdowns.
Yeah, because listen, when my husband died, she was there to keep me lifted. Yeah. When he was going through his cancer treatment, she was there to keep me like that's who your mom is. She's that cheerleader, that encourager. She's the one that everybody goes to when they need strength, Or she knows who to go to, So that's not her to be like down, so to speak.
And so then it was like, I think it was nighttime, and then my grandmother had came back. She told me, well, your mom has MS. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what MS means. And then she tells me, like, well, Mom ain't going to be the same anymore. Like, she won't be the same. And that just broke me down. I remember every time when she would have a stroke, I would either freak out and I'm like, let's
put a pin there every time. So you're a 7-stroke survivor.
I'm a 7-stroke survivor. I had the massive stroke, which indicated what was wrong and gave us the diagnosis of MS. And so I went from truly not being able to walk. I was on a full-blown out walker. I couldn't go back to work for a while.
I had the little blue walker with the basket where I could sit down and have the basket.
I had one of those. Yes, I had one of those. I had to go to physical therapy. And one thing I will say about my kids, and it's going to kind of make me tear up, when it's just you and your kids sometimes, and you're the one that tries to keep them going, and you show them what it is to not quit. No matter what happens in life, no matter what is thrown at you, no matter what may change in life and who may come and who may go, mommy is always going to stay there. And
expected to be the permanent fixture.
right.
Yeah.
And so I was grateful that in this time, I always now celebrate every milestone with my children.
Come on.
And they sometimes kind of wonder, like, why I get so happy and excited, and I'm like cheering them on. And like I always say, my middle child, he's like a brilliant mind. He is so smart, so smart, to the point it's sometimes annoying. But he
has that meticulous architectural mind, that calculated mind.
Just calculated mind. And I can remember when Autumn was on the phone with my nephew, he grabbed my hand and he started to pray.
Woo!
And he said, God.
And one thing I know is you got God. I know you got God.
And he started to pray. And he said, and I remember hearing him saying, Lord, don't take my mommy.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't take my mommy right now. We need our mommy.
Okay, pass the tissue.
We need our mommy.
Yeah.
And as a mom, you take your kids to church.
Yeah.
And I've always said, I don't want my kids to be religious about religion.
Right.
I don't want my kids to be those kids that mimic what they see.
Right.
Because they think it's right.
But have a relationship.
I want them to have a relationship.
That's
I want them to know prayer works.
Ooh.
And it works no matter what your background is, what you've done in the past. Be it that you are what people say you should be.
Yeah.
As long as you are what he calls you to be. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
And I'm thankful because every time I go out or every time I get sick, it's my children, and their names are Autumn, Michelle, Christopher, and my baby Lex, who they love me so much, and it's a pure love. That they always say, when I come back in and I've been going, Mommy, you need to go lay down. Mommy, you're tired. Mommy, you don't have to clean the house right now, Mommy. It's not important. Mommy, we don't have to do this. Mommy, you don't, we know.
And what amazes me is how the children get it, but adults can be so mean and cruel.
Sometimes adults don't get it.
Because I didn't know what was wrong. It literally, I woke up one day and I was different.
Yeah.
And I could not stay out the bed.
Yeah.
And I was running back and forth to the bathroom because sometimes we have to urinate a lot.
Yes.
And I did not know what was wrong. I'm just like, well, maybe I'm tired, you know, because that's what you hear so
That's what you
often.
hear so much that you're
tired. They
tired.
diagnose me with restless leg disease, sleepy restless leg disease, all of that, for all of that stuff.
They give you everything in the book.
But won't run a
what's wrong with
test.
you, but won't run a test.
And want to give us drugs.
Yeah, that too.
And finally I have to say, help me, fix me.
Yes.
I don't want you to make me high. I live in the hood. I can go get high if I want to get high.
If I really want to get high. I know some people to call.
Exactly.
If I really want to do that.
And so Janae was in college.
Yeah.
For 3 years, I couldn't work because I was ill. Nobody knew.
I remember.
Janae stopped going to college. And she only had a half a year to finish. And she still hasn't finished. And that's my prayer. God, please.
Let her go back.
Let my baby be able to go back. Send the money so she can go finish clinical child psychology degree and was going to graduate early.
Yeah.
But mommy can't pay bills because mommy can't work. Mommy is ill. They don't know what's wrong with mommy. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to take care of mommy because she was going to transfer here. Then was going to, go to college. But I can't do that. I got to help my mom.
Right.
And this is after not just burying her stepfather, but a year to the day after I had his service, her biological father died.
Yeah, I remember.
Then she goes to college. Then now my mommy is ill. And so she would
think
do
about that on a child.
And then she would come, and Janae can't stand feet. So I be
But
sleep.
she loves Jordans.
Right. But she loves Jordans, right. She can't stand feet, but she would get to the foot of my bed and take my big toe and be like, Mommy, Mommy, are you okay? Mommy, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm just so tired and sleepy. She's like, okay, Mommy. And then we'd leave. Then she'd come and check on me again. Mommy, Mommy, are you okay? And I remember one day I was driving her somewhere and I couldn't remember how to get there.
Yeah. I've had that happen.
And so I'm taking this long route because I don't remember. And she's telling me, and I had to yell, if you don't shut up, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it
and
hit her that something is wrong with my mother.
Yeah.
And so while our children are careful to help us, now my pastor at the time, Pastor Dwayne Simmons, he was there every step of the way. Yeah. My Mount Pleasant family, they were there every step. My sister Mel, she was there for it all because she knew all of it. Yeah. Like, and I was going to ER, my whole face, I trigeminal neuralgia. Okay. Felt like I was being shot, stabbed, hot coals, all at the same time. And they classified as the worst headache, like worst ache in somebody's head that they will ever get in their life. And so even then, they still didn't run an MRI.
Yeah. And
even then,
it's like people don't realize. And like I said, everybody doesn't have the support system that we have.
No.
And as I've told people, I say, I don't have a young mom. I say, my mom will be 79 next year.
And my mom was deceased.
And I am so grateful to her because it was my mom that drove me to the hospital.
Yeah.
She didn't call an ambulance. She came and put me in her car.
Yeah.
And stayed with me. My mom literally moved into my house while I was in the hospital to take my kids back and forth to school, to walk my dog, her other fur grandchild, and my sisters helped. And my sister in California, who is a big supporter, as she says, I gave her a daughter without her having to give birth.
Is that who you was talking to, Auntie? That's the Auntie. Yeah. What's her name?
Auntie Kathy.
Shout out, Kathy. Auntie Kathy. Shout out. You love you, so say it again.
Yeah, I love me some Auntie Kathy.
And so Kathy, as I always say, she's my little big sister because people always thought I was the oldest because she's so tiny. But she was like, do I need to get on a plane? Do I need to come and be with you?
And that support helps.
And I thank my brother, because a lot of people don't realize I have a brother, but I have a brother. And the last time I was in the hospital, my brother, he was overseas because he's a musician. He had just came back into the country, and he saw the message that I was back in the house. He called me. He said, Christy, I done booked me a flight. I'm on my way. I'll be there in the morning. Mind you, he had called me at 10 o'clock that night. My brother walked through the hospital door at 8 o'clock that morning. He just got on a plane. And I remembered a conversation that me and him had. And he said, you know how things were between me and you, and you know how we grew up, especially with our dad. And we love our dad. And he said, but we're all we got. And he's like, and I love you, and I love those kids, and I love mommy. It was like, and I just had to look at you to make sure you were okay. He's like, cause you my baby sister, and that meant the world to me. That here was somebody was overseas, that as soon as they heard the message, he got on a plane, no questions asked.
I had family that thought I was lying. Treated me bad.
I heard that too.
Thought I was lying about MS because I ain't crippled and in a wheelchair, or I don't look like somebody else that you know.
Right.
And the first thing they tell us when you are diagnosed, no two of you will ever be the same.
I will never have the same symptoms that you have.
Right. And if we do have the same symptoms, we have something else that's different.
Yes.
It's no two people. That's the first thing they tell us.
No two people are the same.
No two people are the same. And then they have to tell the doctors, just because all your 5,000 other patients never had this, that doesn't mean that that's not MS. Because there's a whole segment of people that this doctor has that has all of this other stuff. Yes. With these people that also have this, and this, and this, and this. So, and they said the disease is changing. And people will all text me, call me, oh, there's a cure. There is no cure for MS. No cure. It was, that worked for that person right then during that brief moment. But guess what? Reality is it might not even be working for that person again.
It might be in what they call remission.
Remission, that's it.
It could be in remission. And I've lived with the disease. And like I tell people, I was fortunate enough to be a graduate of Cleveland School of the Arts. I was like, in having MS, didn't know as a child that I had MS. I was like, I was a ballet dancer. I danced on point. I was like, I danced for the Marguerite Duncan School of Ballet downtown. The only little black little girl who was dancing with the only black little boy who now, Jay Malik, I'm sorry, I love you, who now is the artistic director of the Wisconsin Ballet.
Wow.
Who went forth in our dream. We would always talk about that we were going to get married and we were going to be ballet dancers and we were just going to do this. And I'm grateful that he was able to fulfill that dream.
Yes.
And I remember it was one piece we did because we used to always dance for University Circle.
Yeah.
Parade on the Circle. And I remember there was one dance that me and him did. And they said they were so captivated by us.
Wow.
And I think about two little black little kids.
Right, at a time now it's more popular.
Now it's popular.
But then it wasn't.
Then it wasn't. You know, people are like, oh, no, you need to be a hip-hop dancer. You need to be this. And I'm thinking like, no, that's not what I want to do.
Come on, don't put me in a box.
And I remember being in preschool. And I told Mom, I was like, Mommy, I want to be a ballet dancer. And she was like, baby. Baby. And I'm like, no, I want to be a ballet dancer. That's what I want to do. And I remember telling her, I was like, and I want to go to School of Arts because I want to be like the people on Fame. I want to dance on the tables. And when I had the opportunity to audition when I was in the 3rd grade, I was accepted.
See?
And so it was kind of like, okay, all the things I wanted to do as a young person, I was able to do as a young person. I was able to receive a scholarship from Ray Charles himself for my music ability.
Yes.
I was able to dance.
Because there's so much to you that a lot of people don't know.
A lot of people don't know. And I always...
Because we wrote a Christmas song.
Right. We wrote a Christmas song at work, and we had everybody singing the Christmas song. I mean, everybody was singing this Christmas song. Everybody. But like I told you, it's like I always try to be humble.
Yeah.
Like I've never been a person to brag or boast. And that's one thing I truly want to say tonight is I want to thank my Cleveland Heights family because I work for the city of Cleveland Heights, but I truly want to thank them. I want to thank my supervisor, Eric Zemf, and I want to thank my coworkers, Garrett and Bayina and Adrian and Patrick and Brian A and Brian I and Fallon and Brooke and Pitts and Marvin, but I really want to thank the mayor of Cleveland Heights.
Yeah.
Mayor Cyrene, because when I got sick and my boss found out that I had a stroke, it kind of shifted the dynamic in the department. It was kind of like, not Christy. We just saw her. What do we
happened?
Need to do?
Right.
What happened? And I remember my sister Kathy called me, but she was calling me by my maiden name. So she was like, "I'm calling for Christy Dorsey," and they were like, "Who?" Like, who? And she was like, "Oh no, she's in the system." And one thing about my sister Kathy, she will quote an ordinance to you in a minute and tell you that no, you're going to find it because if not, I'm going to sue you. And that's the end of the conversation. And then when they all found out the love and support, that they gave me. And I remember when I finally walked back through those doors and they saw me on the walker and to see the genuine compassion and caring, because people can't say that things happen to them at work and their job is going to say,
oh, honey, more often than not, they're not. The job is not their support, and it's basic. I'll tell you, on that note, I had somebody that had the nerve that was a cancer survivor at the time, just went through your bout of cancer, had the nerve to come to me and say, "You have MS? Well, do you do that?" I said, "No, I don't do that." Well, I knew she was lying. I said, "What are you talking about?" Well, somebody at my job. I said, "Oh, no two people are the same. And how dare you not have compassion? And you just finished a cancer bout. How dare you not have compassion?" She very well could have all of that and then a whole bunch of other stuff going on that she don't want to tell you because it's humiliating.
It's very humiliating.
Very humiliating.
And like I said, when I walked through those doors, and everyone came
That's
out,
so awesome.
and they hugged me. And when the mayor realized that I was there, he was like, "Come to the back. I want to talk to you."
Wow.
It's like, "I just want to talk to you." And, we had our own private conversation, but it was a conversation of, we value you, and we know what you bring.
Wow.
So don't worry.
It gave your mind peace.
It gave me peace because in that, you're worried, even
That's
all of what I
phenomenal.
was going through. I'm thinking like, okay, I gotta work, I gotta take care of my
Yeah.
kids, I gotta have this, I gotta do
Yeah.
that, I gotta do that. I got Autumn who wants to do this, I got Christopher who's playing football and wrestling. My youngest plays golf. Yes, I am promoting golf for him, little black boy.
Oh yeah, I
golf.
know.
He'll
Yeah,
be the
honey, my
next
dad
Tiger.
loves golf. Yeah.
And plus, that's an untapped resource of college scholarships.
Yes, it is. Very untapped.
Untapped. But it's like, and I think about that gave me peace. You know, and
That's one less thing you have to worry
one thing
about.
else I have to worry about. And in that, my job made allowances for me. They knew when I had physical therapy. It was to a point that they were like, Christy, don't you have physical therapy today?
I love it.
Or it'll be a point to, Christy, you look like you need to go home and you look tired.
I love it.
Maybe you need to go home. It was I would call them and say, hey, I'm not really feeling so. No problem, Christy. Just, we got you. Come back in when you feel good. And for me, for that, it made me want to work harder. It made me appreciate the people and the family that I have there who even check on me now when I'm sick.
Yeah.
They come, because I've had the many strokes since then, I've looked up and a couple of them have been at the hospital.
Wow.
And
it's awesome because
can't say that everywhere.
You can, honey. Very few places you can say that about, and so that's definitely a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Definitely a blessing. Definitely a blessing. Because like I said, my church I was at that time, they were there to support. The pastor made sure like that I was covered. Janae was, it's a blessing.
It is.
And then my sis Mel always praying, T, tell them check this. I'm praying, T, I'm praying, sis, I'm praying. Because at some point, sometimes you don't even have the strength to pray for yourself.
You don't.
Or you can just say, Lord have mercy.
You don't.
You don't have all these words that it just helps to have that support.
It does. It
does.
does.
And for a disease where we don't look like it, you don't look like something wrong with you. Well, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm special. I was chosen to carry. I'm an MS warrior. What's your superpower?
Right.
Come on
I
now.
hate when people say, oh, you don't look like you've had a stroke. And I'm thinking like,
what am I supposed to look like?
What am I supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't look like you have MS.
Yeah.
Well, what am I supposed to look like?
And what they don't understand is everything we do takes energy. Everything. We have a certain amount of spoons that we get every day. We get 9 spoons, and I can use all 9 just brushing my teeth or going to the bathroom or taking a shower, and I don't want to be bothered, but I still got to get dressed and go to work. And it's a press for us. Like I tell people, when you walk, you just get up and walk. No, when I'm walking, I'm saying, make sure your feet are steady.
Right.
Make sure you don't fall. And even in that, we still fall.
As you know, love my high heel shoes.
Oh, who you telling? Girl, the higher the heel.
Higher the heel.
Baby, we warm.
Whew.
We did.
But now,
as
much as I hate it, if I wear them heels, I got to sit down immediately because the balance of it, I'm not balanced the way that I am. So I have several pairs of shoes that I'm waiting to pass along to baby girl over here.
Okay, Autumn, you ready for them? You like heels? I know that's right. With your fabulous self.
Yes. So,
when I travel, because one time I traveled right after I was diagnosed, I'm on a plane and I'm trying to walk through and I start staggering.
Wow.
And security said, ma'am, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. Well, I think he had a little too much to drink. I said, I haven't drunk anything.
And that's another thing they think
I haven't drunk anything. Exactly. I'm not drunk. I'm MS. I didn't drink anything. Oh, so what drugs are you on? I'm not on drugs. And then it hit me and I said, sir, I'm diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
And that's the thing. Most people don't know when you say I have MS, they have no idea what that means.
Right. And they don't know what multiple sclerosis means.
They don't even know what that means.
No.
And like I tell people, I was like, well, there's so many commercials. Like I take Ocrevus.
Okay.
I was like, that's the most popular MS commercial you're seeing right now. And I was like, yes, I take a 6-hour IV treatment. And I always try to explain to people, I was like, it's like chemo for people who have MS. I was like, I go, they check all my vitals, they ask me.
Are you at the Mellon Center?
Yes.
I am too.
And they give me all these questions and that I have to answer. I was like, then before I can even get the treatment, I was like, I have to have a whole medical grade of Benadryl.
Yeah.
Which knocks you out.
Yeah, and I'm allergic to that, so I could never do that.
So you can't. So I have this whole 30 minutes of Benadryl.
Yeah.
Then I have to take Tylenol. Then they have to come back and check and make sure my heart rate's okay. And
before they can even start
before they can even
treatment.
start the treatment. Then they start the treatment. And with the treatment, again, it takes 6 hours to get the treatment. So you're sitting there plugged up to an IV.
A whole day.
A whole day. So by the time I'm done with my treatment, my kids have gotten out of school. So I feel okay. I'm all right. I'm okay. But my kids, they're adjusted to it. So it's okay, Mommy, we know you're going to go lay down. It's okay. And my mom will come be with them, you know, or make sure they eat and make sure I get a little bit to eat. The next day, I'm kind of like Superwoman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoo, I'm like a warrior hawk. I said, but the next day.
Come on now.
It's that next day.
It's the 2 days later.
The 2 days later, either I have a severe migraine, so I'm in the bed, or I'm completely exhausted.
Wiped out.
I'm wiped out, and my body has to recover. And like you were saying, it's not the same kind of exhausted. Oh, I'm just exhausted. No. I've had times.
Let me tell you, I'm going to share something real personal. I have pull-ups at the house. Because I can feel now, I can kind of sense when I lay down how it's going to be. And I'll have to pull one on at night. Sometimes I had to. Well, not in the last year, but there was the time I had to put one on. Because by the time I wake up to go and then have to get my body up and then my muscles and stuff hurting, I take 2 steps. I would have had to go on myself. And then I'm in the shower 3 and 4 times a night, bathing and changing nightgown, this, that. And so I'm like, you know what? I got to figure. And now for a woman that's single, a widow, and you want to be in a relationship and get remarried again, that all of this stuff,
comes into play.
Come on.
You have to tell people, look, I might have a stroke. You need to know the warning signs of what's going on with me. I might be tired and it ain't you. I might snap at you. It ain't you.
Today might not be the songs. It might be the pull-ups.
Right. The pull-ups. You never know.
That's right.
And I have it that sometimes with that, even my kid, my daughter say, I'll be like, oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta hurry up and go to the bathroom. I gotta hurry because
we don't get a warning. It's like boom.
It's like
I gotta go.
I have to go.
We can't wait.
I don't have that. And
we don't have that grace period that we used to have.
No. I don't have a grace period anymore. And like I tell people, it's like every morning that I get out of my bed, and I was like, my kids can tell you, I'm stumbling because my brain has not connected to the rest of my body.
That's right.
To say, okay, she's starting to move. She's out the
we
bed.
We stumble, we stagger, and we're walking like this. We're grasping onto stuff. We're holding on. That's right.
Yeah, and people don't get that. And we have steps in our house. And so I've fallen down the steps a couple of times because my legs literally have just given out on me.
Girl.
I could be in mid-motion.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I'm at the bottom of the steps.
Well, I have a bum knee, and my knee gave out on me on election day, and it's just starting to get a little better and tore me up. So then so I got a bum knee and I call it the MS shuffle.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. You know, I got the MS shuffle on top of that. And there's like this week, yesterday and today at work, I walked into walls all day. I'm coming out the office turning and I didn't hit. And then I come out, I'm like, what is going on?
What's going on? What's going on?
Just barely cleaning a bump. And I'm like, girl,
you're barely
what?
clearing what's going on.
Or you lift your leg up and it doesn't lift high enough, but you think it lift high enough.
Or your foot. Boom. I have tripped multiple times because my foot I'm thinking I'm walking on, but the end of my foot has not picked up enough. And people think, oh, she's just kind of like, no, it's a part of my illness that causes that. I've had times that I've tried to pick up a glass or pick up a cup and my hand doesn't work correctly. It'll just fall out. I'll try to pick something up and instantly it falls. I was like, and people don't understand it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
Because you're hard on yourself.
And it's emotional.
Very emotional.
I cry, tears of a clown. Many days I go home. I'm in church both services and don't want to be at the first service because my body hurts. But I'm there looking like a picture of health. I'm there looking perfect. I'm there makeup flawless, eyelashes on, my little low heel. You know, low heel. I'm not okay because I look okay.
I'm not okay.
And then by the time I get home, I'm like, Lord, just help me get home.
Right.
Because too tired, I don't even want to drive. Lord, just help me get home.
And I can remember, and sometimes, you always had like, my main times with God is in the morning before the kids wake up when I'm in the bathroom.
That's my time. I'm in the shower, me and God.
I have a good friend, my sister, Victoria Barnes Hubbard.
Oh, that's my girl. Hey, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky, if you're watching. I remember we've been friends since we were 4th grade. Actually, we've been friends before we even existed in this world because her dad and my dad were both pastors.
Yep.
And so we've known each other, and
from the womb to the tomb.
That's my heart. And I remember when she found out I had got sick and how sick I was. This last time I had got sick, she immediately started praying, and she sent me this song. Matter of fact, her and my friend Stacy, and it was "You Are My Waymaker." It was Waymaker. You're my keeper.
Waymaker, miracle worker,
yes, that was the
promise
song.
keeper,
Yes.
light in the darkness.
That's the song.
My God,
Yes,
that
yes.
is who you are.
And that song has, and she doesn't realize that it has helped me because in the back of my mind, I hear that, and it's like, Lord, you've kept me for a reason.
Now that's something that she sent that song.
She sent it to me.
When I had spinal surgery and I was in a nursing home, they had to cut me from ear to ear, and I had to, walk again and stuff.
Yeah.
She's now gone, Miss Mama Jerry Brown, but they wouldn't let me call her mommy or auntie. They were all older than me, but they said, no, we're your big sisters.
Yeah.
The last one just passed last year. She was 101, but we're your big sisters.
Yeah.
And that's the same song she prayed after hearing my testimony and all of that stuff. And that's the same song God has somebody play for me.
It's things like that. And I think about I call her my sister Stacy. I'm her ivory, and she's my ebony.
Oh.
And so she put a post up, and when I was still on my cane, she was like, she's the only person I know got a cane that matches her outfits.
Oh, I did. Girl, please.
She was like, Chrissy's fashionable even with a cane.
Listen, I had my cane, purple cane, brown cane, leopard cane, rose cane, yellow cane, baby.
And then she said, you the only person I know got a Michael Kors bag hanging across your walker.
Period.
I was like, of course. I was like, if I could be dazzling, it would be bedazzled.
Anything less is uncivilized.
Yes. But I just think about how people like that have continued to say, this is my friend. And this is my friend that we might not talk every day, or you might not
pick up
us,
right where you left
but
off.
we will pick up right where we left off. And if she needs me, I'm there.
Yeah.
And there's no question, there's no conversation about
and
what
those
we
are the
missed.
ones we hold on to,
And
because I'm telling you, my sister Mel didn't miss a beat, been there. Now there's others, you call for prayer, but you don't call to invite me to anything anymore. That you don't want to do that because I might not come. But you don't understand how bad it makes me feel when I can't do what I desire to do because something else is telling my body, you're not going to do that today.
Right.
We don't get, we don't have warning signals sometimes. It doesn't happen.
It just happens.
And so when we say, yes, I'm going to come, we have every intention at that moment
to come. Yeah.
But then it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work out.
And
I think about how the fact that so many, you don't realize how you're important to other people.
You don't.
Until something happens to you. And there's
or how unimportant you are.
Unimportant. And I was trying to avoid that.
No,
but how unimportant you are to people. And it's nice. And I've always said I'm not a real emotional person, which I'm not. But it made me want to bounce back when I saw.
Wait a minute, Kay Chantel says send her your walker. She'll bling it. She blings stuff.
Oh, okay. I definitely.
She said she'll bling it with a matching pair of Crocs.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
there you go.
I shall.
Period. Kay Chantel, you just won the voucher. You have the most comments. You have the most. You have won the $20 cash voucher to Eleanor's Cafe.
There
Do
you
we have
go.
the flyer for Eleanor's Cafe?
It's up on the website. It's up on the page.
Can we post it here?
It's on Facebook. If I post it, you go off the air. So you want me to go off the air and then put it?
Oh no, I didn't know because I was under the understanding it was show on air. Sorry, like
It's showing on
Mason's.
Facebook right now.
Okay.
It's show.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay. All right. So, and Facebook, now, they say old people only have Facebook because.
Right.
That's not the
Yeah,
name.
that's
But
yeah.
it's okay.
But I got Instagram too.
But I have Instagram too. I try.
TikTok.
I use my daughter's TikTok. She shows me TikTok. Or I send her things from TikTok and I'm like, this is me and you. But it's amazing how people reached out people that I normally wouldn't talk to.
Yep.
People who said, I'm praying for you. And for my...
Or people that have it. I didn't know my best friend, I met her in school. We were 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Met in kindergarten. Long Italian hair, long black girl hair. Mm-hmm. And we still friends. And we'll both be 60 in November. Our little sister has MS. Didn't know. And she reached right out to didn't know. They just reached. I'm like, wow.
Reached right out.
Wow,
and that's another
wow.
thing. Like, I have two classmates, Cece Manning, who has MS. Didn't realize last year that we both did the MS walk. And she posted pictures. And I was like, Cece, you were there? I was like, I was there too. Mm-hmm. Didn't know. And me and Cece danced together.
Wow.
We danced together.
I'm going to walk with you this year. I haven't done a walk. The last breast cancer walk I did, it took me 4 hours to get out my car. Didn't know I had MS.
Didn't know you had MS.
4 hours to get out my car. I could not move.
Yeah, and it's like a young man, Ricardo, and he... Mr. Jackson's the World Wide Web, who keeps us abreast on all the things that are going on in America and abroad. I didn't realize he had MS as well. Mm-hmm. So it has affected the the Cleveland School of the Arts community, and we didn't know we had it. You know, and so it has brought us closer together.
My cousin, they were treating her with rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah. She has multiple sclerosis. For years and just realized they misdiagnosed her.
And that's another thing, they misdiagnose you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you can be dismissed when you're saying, no, there's something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. There's something going on and I can't figure it out. And that's what MS is. You can't figure it out. And I think about, even in my class alone, in me being sick, I've gone to several funerals of my classmates. Mm-hmm. I've had to see them go before me. Mm-hmm. And I think about that I'm still here. And I spoke at my one friend's funeral, Brandon, and it hit us when he passed. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like, I had people who called me and it was like, Christy, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. What's wrong? Mm-hmm. And they was like, we don't want you to get upset. And I was like, okay. And then they told me what happened. And I was like, no, that's not true. That didn't happen, not to him. And then I got a call 10 minutes later that another one of our classmates passed hours from him.
Oh, my goodness.
So we had lost two people within the span of hours from each other. Mm-hmm. And I remember going to his funeral, and it's always kind of like a class reunion for Cleveland School of the Arts for us to come together. And I spoke, and I said, you know, you look over things like this, and you think about, well, what about me? And for me, it hit me that sometimes God puts you in a position where that he doesn't need you right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that he needed them right now more than he needs me.
Well, your work is not done here. And God doesn't take us until our assignment is complete.
And that's what I keep telling myself.
The day we're born is we clock in. Yeah. The day he takes us, we clock out from this side to clock in to eternal rest.
Yeah. And I use that every day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that I don't have moments where that I'm like, God, why me? Mm-hmm. What did I do? Mm-hmm. But then I have to look, as my mom would say, look over my life. Ooh. And think back where I came from. And I think about the opportunities that have been given to me. And I even think about the mistakes that I've made in life. Mm-hmm. And I think about how God has delivered me.
Come on.
How God
He's a keeper.
Continued to keep me.
Jesus, yes.
How God has said, you know what? No matter what mistakes you made, no matter how people talk about you and talk about your past and what you've done in the past, and you didn't do this and you did that, I've kept you here now for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think about how God uses the broken, how he uses the broken to do his work.
Well, you know, I tell people often, they look at me and say, you don't look like anything that God has brought you through. Yeah. I'm not supposed to.
I'm not supposed to.
Because, see, when I serve God, it makes me different from everybody else that doesn't. Yes. So I should have a different look.
Have a different look about myself.
You know, I should have a different attitude. attitude. My posture should be different. Now, do I have funky days? Yes, I do. And I will tell you.
And I
today ain't today. I tell her.
I will still cuss you out. Don't misunderstand that real quick.
Listen, I told somebody, I said, I'm Peter. God's working on me for real. He really is.
Yeah,
I tell Pastor, God's working on me because some people are blatantly outright just disrespectful.
And I tell people, I am Jesus who loves, but I'm Jesus who will knock a table over in a minute. Yes. In the name of the Lord.
But pray with me, don't play with me.
Don't play with me.
Yes.
Don't play with me. And I
because it's a heavy cross to carry. And we're just scratching the surface. Yeah. You can't comprehend. Like I told somebody, I said, they refuse to try to understand MS. Because my thing was, if you love me, you're going to do the research and find out about it. Because I don't want to have to keep talking about it. Right. So at least you find out something about it if you love me.
Yes.
And I said, I said, nobody wants to wake up blind. Nobody wants to all of a sudden just fall and never walk. Well, who would do that?
No one.
A lot of people that has multiple sclerosis does that.
Yeah.
They're having a whole conversation and all of a sudden it doesn't connect and they're not talking.
They're not talking.
Either forever or for a period of time. Or they go blind forever or a period of time.
Or the conversation doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. But in our head,
it
makes a whole lot of sense.
But to everyone else, it doesn't.
It makes no sense.
So then we have to get over the embarrassment.
Exactly. Because I've had people pick on me. So you know so much, you don't know, you can't even talk. I said, I'm diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Right. What are you diagnosed with to make you such an ignorant person?
Exactly.
If you only understood what I have to do every day even to have a podcast, to be able to talk and to make sure don't let me say the wrong thing. Did I say the right thing? Yes. Is this, is that? It's not easy.
It's not easy. And I truly want to thank you. For putting a voice on this.
Got to.
For putting a face on this.
Got to.
So for people to see, there are people out here. I may not look like there's nothing wrong with me. I may walk like there's nothing wrong with me. I may not talk like there's nothing wrong with me. But no, there's something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. But what I try to do, what I try to show my children is that regardless to what's going on with me physically, there's someone holding me up.
Honey, our God is bigger than multiple sclerosis,
yes,
baby.
He is.
Come on.
I tell people that. I was like, I've never been one of those people who ran through the church and shouting and doing all. No. I'm a quiet praise person. Mm-hmm. But if you come to me with the word, I can tell you what the word is. One thing my mother and my grandmother taught us as girls was to pray. Mm-hmm. Pray. Mm-hmm. Just if you say nothing else but Jesus, help me.
Help me. That's enough for him.
Help me. Help my unbelief so that I can believe. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm grateful to those who have prayed for me. I'm grateful to you for continuously being in my life. Mm-hmm. Be it that it's present.
You Lee Robinson. My mama's maiden name Lee. My maiden name Robinson. Come on.
Thank you. I thank my mom. Mm-hmm. She always say people I'm her rib. And some days I like her and some days I don't. But that's a mother-daughter relationship. But I thank God for having a mother like that. I thank God for my father. I thank God for my sisters. I have 2 sisters. I thank God for Samantha. I thank God for Kathy and her husband and my nephew. I thank God for all my nephews. And for my brother. Yeah. And I thank God for my nephews, baby James. Well, he doesn't like me calling him baby James, but James, Jakey, Alex, for my children, Autumn.
Yeah.
I love this little girl so much. Yeah. She's been with me through.
We getting ready to go off, Autumn. Can we show you real quick so they can see? We can. No. Okay. We ain't going to. No, because I promised you, and I'm never going to not keep my promise to you. Yeah.
She's my rock. Yeah. She has no idea.
She brings me joy to see her stand in such little feet, but she wears big shoes.
She does.
She wears big shoes. So everybody listen, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been an awesome conversation. It won't be the last conversation. I am currently writing a book called M.S. Me because we're all different and definitely going to have your story and Autumn's story in it. If you need more information and need support, holla at your girl. You can inbox me, slide into my DM on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll get back with you. And remember, he's a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
Yes.
Christy, we are survivors.
We are.
We are thrivers.
Yes, we are.
And we are warriors. And I thank God that neither one of us look like all that we have been through.
Yes.
This is just a nugget. The word of God says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this world cannot be compared
Amen.
to the glory of God that shall be revealed in us. Stay blessed and stay well. Smooches.